on Complete Speech every Monday at 9:30 p.m. on NTV.
Good morning and welcome to Newsline, live from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. And joining me this morning is Mr. Sunil Hanjanetti, the Member of Parliament representing the JVP. Good morning to you, Mr. Hanjanetti. And also joining me is Mr. Rusiripala Tennakoon, a senior banker and former trade unionist, and very appropriate for this morning's conversation. Good morning, Rusiri.
Good morning, Farah.
And on Newsline, this is where we discuss matters that are potentially causing a liability or having caused a liability, matters that are close to the heart of the people, you. And so, this morning we hope to discuss, apart from the budget, which the Minister of Finance is presenting in Parliament today, we are going to be discussing the proposed amalgamation of the EPF and ETF funds, and which is why we have Mr. Rusiripala here. Mr. Rusiripala, why should we be worried about this proposed amalgamation of EPF and ETF? Who's brought it to the attention of the Republic first?
I think the whole respects and in regards to the TV station Sirisa for about a month back at a discussion, I remember very clearly when we were discussing about the forecasts and the policy statement made by the Prime Minister, we made it a point to refer to the proposed ETF, EPF amalgamation thing. And we are happy to note that, as expected, the trade union movement, the social workers and the social groups have now taken the matter forward, and they are very interested in this, and there's a lot of sort of, I should say, criticism and commotion going about on the matter. There is very valid reason for the trade union movement and the workers in this country to be concerned about this amalgamation. For historic reasons, if you remember, this is the third time that a government in the succession attempting to touch the Provident Fund for the creation of a pension scheme.
Okay.
They started this in 1989 when it was a UNP government. A social security bill was presented as a draft bill in Parliament. It came as a white paper first, and this was widely discussed, and there was huge opposition about it. We, in the trade union movement, took the leadership, and then we went to educate the members, the workers, and then tell them the consequences of that. The main reason was that was a proposal to totally abolish the Provident Fund scheme and convert it to a pension scheme.
I see.
At that time. The ILO was concerned, the Labour Department was concerned, trade unions were taking that up as an issue, so this was abandoned, given up. They couldn't go ahead with it. Then, second time, in 2011, again, I think that was called Employees Pension Benefit Fund.
Right.
And although that did not involve the conversion of the Provident Fund per se into a fund, that had some significant reference or relationship to the Provident Fund.
Right.
A part of it was to be, at the time of retirement, the beneficiary to contribute a part of the Provident Fund that he was entitled to be put into this new fund.
Okay.
So this was the opposition by the trade unions at that time. I do not know how justified it was,
right,
but it had the problem. Now this time, we don't see any pension scheme in place. There's only a statement made that we are going to formulate a pension scheme. So before the pension scheme being formulated, in place, they are going to amalgamate the funds.
I mean, let me get this right. Before having a democratic discussion
yes,
on this with all the stakeholders,
yes,
they are going on a solo adventure, once again a solo adventure, and they are amalgamating prior to discussion. Am I right?
Yes, exactly. The amalgamation is a very, very serious issue because it is going to create a fund with huge amount of money. I think the biggest fund ever we are going to have in this country at the disposal of the government. Now, after the amalgamation, everything depends on what are the rules of this amalgamation. Who is going to control this fund?
Yeah.
For what purpose are they going to use it?
Right.
I think the trade unions are very concerned about these monies and the amalgamation itself, because this is a time that the government is having a lot of financial issues.
But Mr. Risipala, what bothers me is that the Prime Minister, our dear Prime Minister, appears to be giving a red herring in Sinhalese lanu to these people, to the trade unions, because he's promising them a discussion. Is the amalgamation going to happen after the discussion, or is it happening prior to the discussion?
It's a very, very relevant question. I think the trade unions will be very wise before late, sooner than later, about these promises that are to be made. What is important today is not a discussion after the amalgamation. We have a right to know. We are the owners of this fund.
Yeah.
We are the contributors into this fund.
Yeah.
The employers and the workers. Government has nothing to do with this. The fund belongs to the employers plus the workers. And the responsibility it devolves on the people, the owners of the fund, to know why it is amalgamated before anything else is done.
Indeed. Mr. Antonetti, sorry, you've been a bit quiet here. What's your stand? Is the JVP worried about this amalgamation?
First thing, I'm very thankful to your telecast, MTV and the Surasa taking this matter to consider, because today also a very special day. We are intent to discuss this matter, amalgamation of the EPF and ETF in Parliament also, in forthcoming budget.
Yeah.
The first thing is government, joint government of new government must know very well what is their mandate, because people is given the mandate to support for the people. As mentioned in Prime Minister's policy statement, they are going to create the social market economy.
Yeah.
What the meaning of social market economy? Social market economy is based on the people-friendly economy. Other thing is knowledge economy. And other thing is people must know what they gain from the economy. I mean, there must be economic benefits and the economic democracy. According to my knowledge, these are the main criteria of the social market economy.
I think value for money, democracy.
Yeah, value for money.
Yeah.
But the problem is with this bond issue, who decide it? People must know. Benefit people. I mean the ETF, EPF contributors.
Yeah.
They must know who decide this and what their benefits. Now the thing is, as Mr. Susiripal has very clearly mentioned it, what result, what the end results, because in so many government securities, government bonds, they misuse in past. For example, in central bank bond issue, what has happened? People don't know anything. What is the end result of that bond issue? Like that, if the provident funds and the this fund after the amalgamation, if they are going to outsource that fund, I mean if they are invest the private for the private business, for the share market. What will the end result for the benefiters? What is this? What is the government will give the security for the after this fund management?
So these are the concerns, Mr. Sipala. I mean, would it be fair for the people, for the stakeholders, the beneficiaries, as Mr. Andinetti said, to be suspicious? Because after all, we have, just touching on the central bank bond issue, very quickly here, the Prime Minister said that he's going to investigate the bond issues over the past 10 years, specifically bearing in mind that previously it was Mr. Rajapaksa and Ajit Cabral in charge of the central bank. And he said that private placement was the order of the day. What the Prime Minister didn't say is that these so-called private placements are properly known as money on tap, and that these things been going on since 1998 when the procedure was first established. So it was not something that President Rajapaksa and his governor of the central bank, Ajit Cabral, introduced in 2005 onwards. That is the position that the Prime Minister appears to be articulating. It is not, ladies and gentlemen, it has been going on since 1998. So perhaps the Prime Minister means that he's going to investigate all those deals. And there is no such thing as private placement. It is a closed club amongst the primary dealers only. The rate is set by the central bank, and it is up to the primary dealers. If they wanted to take the money, they could have done so. I just wanted to make that point clear, because this matter about the central bank bond issue appears to be very much under the carpet. And it's up to you, the people, to lobby your MPs and the Prime Minister's office to ask for a fit and proper investigation. Don't forget about it and don't let it go. Sorry, Mr. Rusapara, I just wanted to clarify the issue of private placements there.
Yeah. Actually, there is hardly anything to investigate in this so-called private placement. There is nothing called private placement. What is happening is, when a bond is issued, subsequent to the issue of the bond, if there is another requirement by the government to go in for further funding requirements, they use the same rate that was used in the last bond issue and ask the participants, the primary dealers, who is interested to take more on the same lines. So this is called private placement. I don't know how it is.
Somebody said it's called a personal placement.
Yes, I say it's personal placement.
Yes.
No, because in the bond issue system, there are two ways, no?
Yes.
The auction system and the direct placement.
That's right.
But this has happened in not the direct placement.
Yes.
The personal placement.
Indeed.
Because governor has invent the personally.
Yes. Yes,
that is not the direct placement.
He admits, we have it on tape.
We have it on tape because we are going to raise it again.
Yes.
After establishing the COP committee in Parliament.
Yes.
Sure, I am assured to people, don't worry, we are with this matter. We will see.
Yes, we hope for a result like His Excellency the President has acted very strongly and firmly and decisively in the avant-garde matter. And the country's security was in question. As you can see from the events in Paris, it is absolutely essential for the country to be aware of exactly who has weapons in this country. We don't want another Paris happening in Colombo or in Kandy or in Gaul. It's very essential for the security of our country. Mr. Rusapala, on the issue of the amalgamation of the EPF and ETF, do you think that the Prime Minister would be better off by explaining precisely, as he is very capable of doing when he wants to be precise, very precisely as to who will run this fund, what are the benefits, his rationale for wanting to amalgamate the funds. Isn't it better if he did that?
I think this is the reason why the trade unions are agitating and the people concerned are worried about it, because this is exactly what should have preceded the announcement, this policy announcement of the amalgamation. You know, before it was done, and there is another very important issue, who announced this first?
And to give that answer as to who announced this amalgamation first, I will tell you right after this break. Stay tuned. Good morning and welcome back to Newsline. We're joined by Mr. Sunil Handanetti, Member of Parliament from the JVP, and Mr. Rusiripala Tenakuna, former senior banker and trade unionist. Mr. Rusiripala, who made this announcement? Who proposed, or who announced to the Republic the amalgamation of these funds?
I think the breaking news came from nobody other than the governor of the central bank.
Oh, really?
This is yes.
And is this under his purview?
Exactly not. Definitely not. This is not a matter that the governor of the central bank should be concerned with. This is a matter that falls within the purview of the Labour Ministry, the policymakers, the Finance Ministry, and so on. Yeah. So, I mean, the first suspicious background was created by this announcement itself. Why the governor of the central bank had to announce the need of an amalgamation of the two funds, being the largest monies that are available at the disposal of anybody in this country, and when pooled together is going to be a huge balance, unprecedentedly high, and not second to any other fund that this country has.
It seems to be a very extremely private club going on here, where the governor of the central bank is announcing state policy, government policy.
For somebody who is watching what is going on seriously. Now, this is a fact, because we saw some time back the governor of the central bank addressing a seminar in Kandy to some government officials, making a statement which was reported in the press and the public media, that the land policy of this the country is something very obnoxious, and then this should not have been in place. My God, I was just wondering what a sensitive issue it was to the whole country. It has gone to change of governments, big policies, number of involvements in the land policy of this country. Finally, it has been settled down now. The land policy is on. If there is any amendment that is required, it must come from who should matter, not from the governor of the central bank. What has he got to do with the land policy of this country?
He said, do you think he's getting his strength from the sort of perception or the fact that he is a confidant and friend of the Prime Minister?
Well, it looks like that he is made use of for some reason or the other to make these very controversial announcements, and after that slowly the government of the people who are responsible take it over in a very sort of a settled down mood.
There used to be constant complaints about the President Rajapaksa's son, Nama Rajapaksa, that he appeared to be getting involved in different ministries and so on, sort of interference. I'm not so sure that which is worse, the governor of the central bank acting solo about these matters, or
although Handanetti would be the best to explain this.
Yes, Mr. Farooq, we will know very well the power of the controlling the finance of the country under constitution. Is under constitution means the power is parliament.
Yes.
Not beyond the parliament.
Yes.
Not beyond the parliament any person.
Yeah.
Governor also is a part of the finance, I mean the control of the
management.
The main thing is that must come to Parliament firstly. We can discuss in the Finance Committee and other committees. Then after that we must draft as a bill.
Yeah.
Then bill must discuss with the Cabinet. After is the discussion of the Cabinet, it must pass in Parliament.
Yeah.
People know then very well it's what will the benefit and everything.
Yeah.
Without passing the Parliament, without discussing the Parliament, without discuss with the people of the country, anyone can't announce it. Trust me. You know, we are the leading party of the trade unions. As it done in the past, the Rajapaksa regime, people was uprised. There was a huge protest. Hussein Chanaka sacrificed his life against this type of pension.
That's right. This is the boy in the BOI.
Yeah, private sector must have the right to ask the pension scheme.
Yeah.
That is different. But this is not the pension scheme. This, in my view, this is they have collecting the money to invest the money to the outside. No, we are clear about that.
Is that genuine fear there, Mr.
Definitely. In the context of what is happening elsewhere in the economy, for us, we have heard very intriguing news about what is going to happen to some of the public-private institutions in this country. Take, for example, the Lanka hospitals. Huge profits.
Yeah.
And the stake is 56% or something.
59%.
59% with the insurance corporation of this country, which is another government. In other words, it is the public. Now, at a time...
Why do they want to sell?
I think they are trying to sell the family silver.
The thing is, I think Hilton Hotel Corporation also.
There are talks about these things.
This is a very dangerous trend for us. The whole the suspicion about the creation of a fund at a time without being backed by a solid proposal for what it is being done is emanating from that in that background.
Is it possible that His Excellency the President is being misled by his Prime Minister?
I mean,
we can't say definitely.
We can't say
definitely.
No, he cannot be misled really. He must be waiting till these policies take shape, because these are announcements he has. Of course, he has given the government to be, governing.
Do you think he's giving them enough rope to put it around their noose and tighten it themselves?
I think he has shown a very clear example in a couple of instances in this country in the recent past. One is the avant-garde issue. Yeah. He waited till the entire thing came as in the interest of the public. It was being discussed and various contravening and statements and various issues that really warrant the intervention of the government. Yeah. He did it. He did it at the right time. So we are very confident that His Excellency the President is watching these things and he will step in at the right time. He cannot be unmindful to the recent historic events in this country about the Provident Fund. And he coming from a party where the Provident Fund was created in this country in 1958 by no one other than late Mr. T.B. Langaratne. He comes from that party. And he knows the value, why it was created, under what ILO convention it was created, what it was provided for, what the Provident Fund is taking care of, all that he is aware of. So I think, although these announcements are made, I don't think they will take any shape, because I'm sure the trade union movement, Honorable Handuneti knows better, because they are well in control of the trade union movement of this country. I'm happy about it. I mean, let us all get together and look into this aspect, because without just leaving it to people, foreigners or whatever, who have no stake about the future of this country, to take very strong decisions about these matters.
Very quickly, because we're running out of time, I know that Mr. Handuneti, you are going to Parliament today after signing for a wedding before that. Perhaps in Parliament, when you get the time, you can ask a question from His Worship the Mayor, because we are told that the Colombo Municipal Council is going to put in parking meters. Now these parking meters are the old type of parking meters where you have to put coins in and so on and use money. So then you need people to collect this. Then you need a lot of construction work to actually put it in. But Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, when he was doing the beautification scheme, took Sri Lanka, took the capital of our country to a different level, to a modern city. So why in a modern city can't we have modern things? Like you can have parking charge, yes, but you can do it by telephone. You don't need those meters. It's all done by phone. So perhaps we would like to know also why there is no expression of interest, no request for proposal. None of it appears to be there. We'd just like to know whether this is yet another deal happening.
First time I heard it. Yes, very first time. Then I don't know in the municipal council has passed the motion regarding that matter. But in foreign countries, when we are visiting there are this type of parking meters and we collecting the money. But we must know what the position of our people.
Yes, and we need to know whether it makes financial sense and why we should be going backwards when we are got a new city. Where should be going forward?
I would like to know how many of people will be sent out of employment as a result of this.
Yes,
that's my concern.
Indeed.
How many more employment opportunities are we going to lose?
Well, on that note, I'm going to have to thank you, Mr. Andonetti, for being here today, and Mr. Rosipala. Thank you very much, both of you. And if you expect life to be easy, challenges will seem difficult. However, if you accept challenges may occur, then life will be that much easier. On that note, thank you very much for watching, and have a great day. Take care.